How's everybody doing tonight? This is Mr. Colley coming on to explain about the Roaring Twenties. This is our new topic this week. The 1920s is going to be a time period of political, social, and economic change. You're going to have independent minds trying to challenge traditional values. You're gonna have people trying to push the limit, then you're gonna have the government trying to hold back and control people's behaviors. During this time period, most Americans were living in urban areas, in the cities. They left the farms to make money in the big cities. Okay, now, remember, World War I ended 1919. Okay, so after World War I, the United States is going to enjoy a time of prosperity and confidence. Incomes are going to double. People are going to feel confident about spending money, knowing that they're going to make more. You're going to see that the 1920s was a decade of rising stock market prices. People felt that the market couldn't go down, that there was only one way to go, and that was up. Consumers were spending more money, they had more time on their hands, and it was just people buying luxury items and electronics. You also had, on the other hand, cultural innovations such as jazz music, and Hollywood was making over 800 movies a year. So that was a big entertainment boost. It's been said that there was a new morality happening in the 1920s. People were going to challenge traditional ways of thinking. And the other side, you're going to have people in the government trying to control certain ways you act. This new morality was stressing youth, personal freedom, and pleasure. Women, some women at this time period were called flappers, okay? These women challenged traditional ways of thinking. Women entered the workplace. They wanted to be independent, and they wanted to break away from the parental authority and establish their own identity, make their own money, and be independent. Now, what is a flapper? These were women in the 1920s. They wore, their hair was short. They wore silk stockings. You know, a flapper was a young, dramatic, stylish, unconventional woman, someone that was challenging the way a woman, quote unquote, a woman should be acting. They smoked cigarettes, they drank alcohol, they wore at that time period revealing clothing, just pushing the limit. A core concept you have to understand is change here. Okay, during the 1920s, women increasingly started entering the workforce. 1 out of 5 employed persons at this time was a woman. Let's fast forward. By 1950, women accounted for 30% of the workforce. Today, men and women are competing for the same jobs. Okay, men and women are no longer, equality is not what women are looking for. They want to be superior. So they're applying for jobs that were traditionally men only professions, and they're entering them and succeeding. Now, many Americans feared this new morality were threatening traditional values. So remember, I told you there's going to be this new morality, and then the other side, the government and the people trying to control that. Okay, so what were these things that they felt was damaging the culture? The consumer culture. People were buying things. People were motivated by materialistic items. There was very relaxed ethics. It was very open-minded, very, do as you please type of mentality. Growing urbanization, which, we remember urban is city. So cities were growing, millions and millions of people in a small area. And these people thought if you combine all of those together, it symbolized the nation's decline. It's funny how, as you see 16, 17 years old, every generation thinks the one that's coming up is ruining everything. And we always find out that that doesn't happen. Just, you know, we sometimes get guilty of getting caught up in something that's different is wrong. Okay, here's an example of the government trying to push back. Now, Scopes case. John Scopes is a science teacher, biology teacher in Tennessee. Okay, part of the curriculum is teaching the theory of evolution. Well, this was a very religious town, very religious state at the time period. Okay, and this person was arrested for teaching the theory of evolution. The reason why this person was arrested, the theory of evolution goes against the creation story in the Bible. So what you have here with this case is science versus religion. Remember I told you the government, people are going to push back. A theory. Imagine I go to jail for teaching World War I. It's in my curriculum. The science teacher was just teaching something that was in his curriculum. But since it went against the Bible, this person was arrested. Now remember, we have the First Amendment. The First Amendment is an umbrella amendment, freedom of expression, speech, religion, the press, right to assemble, okay? Guys, remember, the freedom of religion also means the freedom from religion. We have separation of church and state. We can't have the law enforcing the Bible. Here, you had a conservative town arresting a science teacher for teaching the theory of evolution. Eventually, this case was overthrown and thrown out, but it goes to show you that you had on one side people trying to be forward thinkers and progressive and new morality, and then you had the other side that was pushing back. Once again, government's going to try to control behavior. Prohibition, 18th Amendment. 18th Amendment is a law banning the manufacturing, transportation, and sale of alcoholic beverages. People thought that if you took alcohol out of the equation, it would reduce unemployment, domestic violence, and poverty. This was a social experiment that failed, okay? You see, what you have to understand is people are not going to follow a law that certain people don't respect. And this, at this time period, they thought that this was acceptable behavior. They tried it, it failed. One of the byproducts of the 18th Amendment, organized crime. Huge profits to be made illegally selling liquor. 18th Amendment was eventually repealed by the 21st Amendment. There you have Al Capone, a gangster in Chicago. He owned Chicago. He controlled the police, the judges, everything. And we'll get to that in a later date. I just wanted to touch upon the issue and show you during this time period, you have the government trying to control and people trying to control behaviors. And on the other side, you had this new morality of people trying to challenge those traditional behaviors. So I hope that covered enough for you, the beginning of the Roaring Twenties. It solidified the introduction of the video you saw yesterday on the Roaring Twenties. It was a big overview. Today we went in a little detail, and tomorrow we're going to follow it up with some more information. Have a great night. Enjoy. Take care.